video, we're going to talk about cameras, UI, and GUI. Also, we're going to talk about all the extra stuff that Corgi comes along with in order to make your Mario 1-1 world. So first, we're going to take a look at the UI and main camera. So there are two cameras. The UI camera is over here. You've probably seen it and been like, what the heck is that thing? Here we go in the hierarchy. So if you select it and we zoom out a bit, just really big. This is our level over here. This is our main camera. It's just kind of stuck to the side. You can actually put that wherever you want, but just leave it over there for now. The UI camera this is the little preview, and it's the thing that helps put health bars and any sort of text on the screen. So this is where you're going to go if you're ever going to adjust stuff. I have another video about creating health bars and stuff and programming them, so you may want to check that out. There might be something interesting for you to look at in terms of UI and menus that I'm not going to repeat here. But if we take a look and we click on our UI camera, we can see that Corgi has a couple extra things in it. So the first thing it has is the GUI manager. GUI, graphics user interface, is usually I say GUI. I'm sure that someone else has some weird pronunciation. You might also hear it as GUI, or just UI. And in here we have a couple things. We've got the health bars, and each one of these references an element, right? So in here is a health bar, which is a graphical piece of thing, and in it, we have all sorts of information on where we want to adjust it to the screen and all that kind of stuff. We're not going to look at that too much, but each one of these elements is a game object that just kind of floats in the UI and does different functions. And we just want to reference which things do what stuff, especially if they're hooked up. So like health bars, jetpack bars, ammo displays. I'm going to collapse this. And you can have multiple of each of these elements. So you can have multiple healths, or we can call these different things. Mana, whatever. There's also going to be a pause and a time splash screen. These are just like when you open the pause menu, what happens. And then, so if we go down here, we can click on the pause splash, and this is disabled, as you can see. But if we enable it, that's the pause. So these start disabled. There's a couple ways to set them up, but all of this sits right on top of the right inside the UI camera. So whatever you want to do in there, you want to put that all into the one UI canvas, or into this UI. So what you want to do is put everything under this UI camera here, if it's a UI element, obviously. All right. So the other thing you want to take a look at is the input manager. Technically, this input manager doesn't need to be here, but because the UI is always on, Corgi decided that's where his default is going to be, which is interesting and fine. So this is the thing that says input detection active. So if you're ever wanting to disable controls, for instance, at the end of the level, you would turn input detection off or something like that. You could, interact with it in several different places. I usually just turn off the player's controller when I want to mess around with things like that, like cutscenes. And then there's also mobile detection and force mode. All of these kind of things, very useful for what we want to do in terms of making games. But it's just something interesting that the developer of Corgi decided to put that there. So just in case you were looking for it, and also just in case you wanted to mess around with it yourself. So beyond that, we've got our main camera, and typically most Unity code has this main camera. It has like a main camera code. So like anytime you reference the word main camera, it specifically means the first one that they find in the scene. So it's really interesting to be able to mess around with cameras and jump back and forth. You can also use these. You can also use other cameras to do like quote unquote like security camera recording or something like that, and stream a third or fourth view. So you can do a lot of different things. And it looks like I can't seem to find the camera. Okay, here we go. I just typed in camera just because I could not find it. And here it is in the minimal camera rig. So in the minimum camera rig, we have a regular camera, and this is our main camera. See, it even has a tag, main camera, usually a very good thing to do. And in it, we have a lot of different things that we can mess around with. The skybox, for instance, the background color, the projection, whether or not it's perspective or orthographic, meaning like side to side. So this is 2D orthographic, and then this is not. So that's where the artwork is. For some reason, it got flipped around. So when you hit this 2D, it becomes perspective, orthographic. So 2D mode, basically, side on the side. You can also change the clipping plane. So this is how much you can see, like, graphically. When you walk through like a World of Warcraft, or any like really big open terrain areas, and you can kind of like see the trees spawning in like hundreds of feet away from you. Well, the reason for that is because there's something called clipping. That's a way for us to stop rendering things after a certain point in order to make sure that we don't lag down our computers. This clipping will just not show whatever it is, so you could even like do it from the near perspective as well. And there are different uses for them. But we're going to go through, roll through the rest of these. Not a lot of this is super important. HDR, things like that. There's some cool effects. Flare, ooh, flare. There's also an audio listener. We're not going to talk about audio a lot, but audio listening mean in any scene, there's something that listens to the audio and then something that makes it. And there should be only one of these in the scene. A lot of times when you add a new main camera, you'll get the audio listener added automatically. You want to remove those. Think of them as your ear, like the thing that is listening inside the game. So let's get to Parallax camera. So this is a script that Corgi has. Parallax camera, move parallax. This is a really important piece of script here. This is the thing that allows us to have things move back and forth. The parallax is basically the thing that allows you to see something really far away moving at a different distance. It's the way we fake in 2D artwork a sense of depth. And it's really, really effective, and it's excellent in terms of developing games, but it's a little bit of a weird concept, and it's also something that comes out of astrophysics, and it kind of means the same thing, but not. So it's kind of a weird word. And so what we're using here is this parallax camera script on our camera. There's also this thing here, this machine brain. We're not going to talk about that right now, but this is just a smart camera controller bit. So we have the parallax camera. So when we go into our level, the other thing we need to know is whether or not our backgrounds are parallaxing as well. So this one, of course, is not. But let's see. Let's get a piece of artwork in. So textures, glitch assets. So, so let's just put this down somewhere. That one worked much better. I'm going to sort it way behind default background. There we go. So what I want this to do is to move, but not at the same rate as the foreground parallax element. So we need to add a parallax element to it. And then we need to do horizontal speed. Let's do 0.5. And I'm going to put it over here. Hopefully that'll work. All right. Oops. Let's see. Let's get this closer. And let's do horizontal speed 1. There you go. So you can see it's moving really a lot back and forth. Let me just get over this. So depending on where we're at, this is obviously a really big piece and it's moving really fast, but this is how we get clouds to move. This is how we get background. This is how we do depth in at least 2D games. Obviously for 3D games, like this is just not the way, not what needs to happen. In 3D, we have actual perspective. So this is just if you're doing 2D games, of course. All right, so I'm going to delete this beautiful, I'll leave it up here, but it's going to be ugly. Let's look at some of the other things that we need in order to create ourselves a good game. Let's import some stuff from Corgi. We're going to go into the base pack, and we're going to go into the, I don't know, items, I think. No, it's not here. It must be in the bricks. All right. So let's go. We've got this box item. Let's bring that in here. Or box coin, since it's a coin that we're going to do later. Let's go. We'll get the coin as well. And let's also get a star. Okay. HUD, coin. Oh, maybe this is, let's see. I'm gonna go into items. Maybe there's a bigger coin. Just checking. Yeah, coin gold. Sometimes the HUD items are smaller than the others. And here's a star. And then, yeah, I think that's it. Okay. So now that we've got that, let's create ourselves a little bit of a game object. Let's go to the box coin and drag that out. Oh boy. Seems like dragging that out doesn't seem to work for me right now. Seems like it's messing with scales and stuff. If I just drag the artwork out, it does fine. I think maybe it's applying its texture to whatever the hell is back there. So we've got ourselves our box and sprite render, sprite default. We're going to add ourselves a bonus block. They actually have a bonus block script for us, which is really valuable and helpful. But we also need to create a spawned object in this. And so we're going to create this gold, we're going to have this gold coin. And I'm just going to be a little lazy and drag this out and then call this coin gold and then make it a prefab. Where is my gold coin? My prefabs are over here. And then this coin gold will then be added to the box. Don't add the one that's in the hierarchy. Add the one that's in the, oops, that's background. There you go. So number of allowed hits, 3, spawned object, coin, reset on death, as in when the player dies, do you want this brick to reset? Let's just see what happens now. Nothing. Why is that, do you think? Perhaps it is because we have not added a box collider, right? Well, that's what happens when we start messing around with things in here. We're going to need to add a box collider, 2D. And then I'm just taking a look at the tags, make sure we don't need to put this on a layer. Layer is on default. And now it should hopefully spawn those coins. Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong. So I just went in here. I went into the Super Hipster Bros because I mean, like they have these things set up, and you know sometimes we need to double check to see if their tool is being used in a slightly different way than the way we thought it was being implemented. But it looks like I think my error is I'm probably spawning the coins on top of itself or something like that because it has a box collider 2D, a sprite renderer. It also has an animator, which you know it'll bounce, but that's less important. We're just trying to get this to spawn right now. So we go coin gold, box slider 2D. Want to make sure that's good. Oh, oops, that's a coin. Duh. That's why I added the box collider to the coin. Sometimes it's just because you don't do the right thing. That's why. Gonna delete this coin. We don't need this now, this coin here. But we're also going to make sure that our bonus block has an offset spawn destination y is 3. And the coins don't do anything right now, so they're just going to appear and never disappear. Also, that's not collectible or anything of that nature, but that's okay. That's all stuff that you can mess around with and implement a little bit later. But this is how they get to the bonus block working. Boop. There we go. 2, 3, and then no more. All right, so that's bonus block. That's going to be an important little script to finish this assignment. You're also going to get you should also take a look at Stompable. So if we have our enemy, I'm going to select our enemy, and everything character-wise is pretty much here, but there are other things we can do. So Stompable. And now, this is just like the Mario jump-on stuff. Damage per stomp. 10. Reset number of jumps, invincibility duration. So when you hit something from the top, that's what happens. Stomp detection raycasts, player mask. I need to actually set which the player. Boom. There we go. So I just had to set the player mask in Stompable. So, and that allows us to jump on stuff. So now we've got parallaxing, we've got jumping on stuff, we've got bonus blocks. You know, that's really close. So the other thing that we might want is a mushroom. So the other thing we might want is a mushroom. Let's go into... Let's go into Corgi's art and go find ourselves a great mushroom. Ooh, mushroom expansion, maybe even. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here's a tiny shroom red. And we're simply going to add the mushroom component. And then from here, it will hopefully trigger whatever the mushroom, the mushroom script. And to read that, let's type in mushroom. All right, so we're looking in here. This code says, if what's colliding with the coin ain't a character behavior, we do nothing. Coin is the base class, by the way. So the developer calls it a coin, and then he uses that base script to modify it to different kinds of pickups doing different special stuff. And then it says, if it returns true, double the size of the character behavior with when the object gets picked up. So it just says double the player size. But if we notice here, it says picking collider dot get component super hipster bros health, not the regular health script that we have. So the thing that they did So the thing that the Corgi developer did is that each of these games, and this is where it starts to branch off into your own personal code and all that kind of stuff. But Super Hipster Bros, we're going to look at the Super Hipster Bros health, if I can possibly find it. We'll go back down. We'll just go to this to folder and navigate and go to scripts. So we've got Mushroom, which is one of the only custom scripts here. And then we've got Super Hipster Bros health. And so this is actually the health code that we're going to manage for the Super Hipster Bro character. And we'll see that this one is slightly different because it has a scale size. So if we search for mushroom, so see this grow, public virtual void grow, and then how much to grow. So this code is new and shrink. So both and reset size. So these pieces of code, this is special for this character controller. So the developer created had the base character controller and then used this. For now, just to get stuff working, I don't mind if we use that because we're using the rest of their stuff. And that's totally cool just to start off. But later on, when you create your game, you're going to probably create a kind of a custom character controller as well. So we're going to find our main camera, our minimal camera character. Oh, that's right. It is a prefab. Our minimal player. And then, oh, that's right. That's not, we have not modified the, and then we're going to, so we have our minimal player, and then we are just, instead of health, we're going to just uncheck it for now. And then we're going to go with super, oops, not in the hierarchy. Super Hipster Bros health. And we're going to add this here. Oops. Maybe we'll just add component here. Do it the third way. Just double check I didn't add it somewhere weird before. Okay, great. So this acts the same way all here. Just it has the ability, this character health has the ability to scale the character up and down. So hopefully this will just work. Oh, of course. So I've got to add a box collider 2D to the mushroom as well, because otherwise we can't collide with it. And then hopefully this just works. Look at that. Now I'm double the size. Oh, and now I'm 0 the size, because that killed me automatically because my health is not hooked up exactly the way we needed to. Also, I'm getting a little bit of an error. There is no animator attached to the box coin. So because I haven't been super thorough, the animator is being looked for, and the animator being the thing that bounces the box coin, all that kind of stuff. So it's throwing quite a bit of an error. So we're probably going to want to fix that before we go on. Animator. And with an R, not an N. And then hopefully we have an animator here. Coin, animator. Cool. It's a very, the animator will take over artwork, by the way, if that wasn't clear. But I also am seeing that I've got parameter hit does not exist in bonus block. At the bonus block. So there's still something being weird, a little screwy. I think it's probably that the animations are not hooked up, because yes, it is actually that, because it says on hit. So like what happens, what's the artwork when hit? So we didn't set any of that up. Feel free to do so. I just want to get the basic functionality working for everyone so that we can take a look at this. So let's play Super Hipster Bros and take a look at what our, kind of back of the assignment book, and what our goals are to make for our own Mario 1-1 level. So I'm going to go to Super Hipster Bros and I'm going to open it up. I'm going to save. And, one thing I'd like you to not do is, don't stick your nose in here very often. Think about this assignment opening, or think about this code here as your, kind of back of the book instruction on how to do stuff. So if you need to, go for it, but try to use your own wherewithal in order to create your project. And we can maximize on play this time. Yeah. Let's maximize on play so we can get a nice big screen and just look at stuff and play through it. Super Hipster Bros. Awesome. So we've got a camera. Looks like I can jump all the way to the left. That's, oh, haha, and I die. So, they didn't even, make the wall necessarily trailing in the back. Honestly, that's not too hard. I'm surprised. We've got some artwork. We've got some parallaxing clouds. We've got some foreground and background elements, and we've got 3 bricks. And looks like I can pick up a mushroom. All right. And if you notice, all this is custom art. So this is really part of it, is I'd like you to try to use your own artwork. Oh, maybe I can stomp on these. Yeah, and they make little noises. That's great. Whew, almost died in that pit. Hey, let's die in this pit. Oh, where do I start? All the way at the beginning. Okay. So we don't have checkpoints in this, which is normal for Mario. You can also take a look at the animations. The animations are, again, not super big. So there's just like 1 or 2 frames per each. And that's the way, you want to do it. You don't want to put a lot of extra effort in. Oh, man. You don't want to put a lot of extra effort into trying to generate artwork for this. And also trying to make sure that you get that really tiny frame will be very helpful for you. All right, having that really tiny amount of frames will be really helpful for you when you're creating work, because it's just a lot of work to do. Whee. I'm enormous. There you go. Normal size again. And here's the goal at the end, and then it fades out. So, not too much. There's other things in there that you could do to make it better, but that's kind of what I'm looking for in terms of complexity, in terms of accuracy. So like the artwork's there's some parallaxing and objects to do, but I'm not expecting the moon. This is an A+ effort for sure. And so if you're having trouble, stick your nose in here a little bit. The way I'd suggest you do it is go through the project view in order to take a look at some of if you need to, and you can look at how their AI is set up in their camera, or all their environment objects or something like that. So you can take a look, but try to do most of it on your own and just use this as a reference. Like if you just copy paste everything in here and paste it into your own level like that, you won't learn anything. This is the first thing that I like to have you all do. Mario 1-1 level clones have had a historic amount of newsworthiness. This is 2020, and there was recently there's an election in the U.S. this year, and so I've seen a bunch of campaign games for Mario 1-1 levels. I've also seen in the past where people will just redo the 1-1 level to be their own skin or theme, and it kind of gives a fun, fresh look. There was one, I think, that was like play as every Nintendo character or something in the Mario 1-1 world. So you're like walking through as with Metroid characters or with Castlevania characters. So it was really fun. I can't remember exactly where that is right now, but if I do, I will link it down below. Or if someone can remember where the heck that came from, where you could just play a lot. It might have been even like a YouTube movie. It's been a while, but I remember thinking it was pretty cool. So that's all that we've got today. I will see you in class.